Right, today's YouTube clip covers that very important question. And I know it's an important question because every time I look on any online forum, I see the question being asked in some format again and again and again. How do I know what technique to use with the client that's coming to see me next week? Now, let's get first things first. Writing a question like that on an internet forum to a whole bunch of strangers is probably not the most professional or forward-thinking way of running your business. Can you imagine if your brain surgeon said, well, I've got this guy coming to see me next week, he's got this frontal problem, what technique should I use? It wouldn't work. There's not many other professions on the planet that would actually see this behaviour as acceptable. I can't imagine police officers doing it, dentists, doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, chiropractors. I just don't get why the personal development world, therapy, NLPs, hypnotherapists, that kind of stuff, somehow think it's the thing to do. Because here's the other thing that happens. Those people on the forum, just because you've seen their name repeatedly, because they're a repeated poster on the forum, they're a prolific poster, they may have status on that particular forum, it doesn't mean you know them. They could be some Looney Tunes guy somewhere who basically is unemployed, he's taking a break from watching daytime TV in order to indulge his habit on the forums. So you need to be careful both of the image that you're presenting and also the people you're asking for advice. And if you're the person asking that advice, you need to ask the question, should you be seeing this client in the first place? It's worth thinking about. If you're having to go onto an internet forum to ask the question, what should I do with this particular client that's coming to see me? That tells me you don't have an appropriate peer group support, you don't have appropriate professional support or training to be able to be dealing with that person. Now, yes, I get it. You've got to start somewhere. Everyone has to start somewhere, and there is that time when you go from having some training to having some kind of experience, and you have to start seeing clients. And I remember my first clients, it was disastrous. So I understand that part. But you need to get yourself inside a peer group. You need to go network with other healthcare professionals, people who are dealing with mental health stuff. You need to go and find established professionals who know what they're doing. Just because a person says on a forum that they know what they're doing, because they might have their PhD from Alpha University and all the rest, it doesn't mean that they know what they're doing. Think about it. They spend all day posting on forums. Anyway, rant out the way. So, it's a recurring question. What technique should I use for a particular problem? Now, this comes up for me a lot in training courses. So, for example, I teach integral eye movement therapy and I teach metaphors of movement. Not quite a therapy, but it's used in that area. So people say to me, okay, how do you know when to use IEMT? How do you know when to use metaphors of movement? And in the NLP world, people will go, how do you know when to use a swish pattern, for example? How do you know when to use a 6-step reframe? So here's what I'm going to do. Going to give you a little test. Just imagine the person is saying to the practitioner the following. Oh, you know, I don't mean to behave in the way that I keep behaving. You know, I just have such an intention to, I go to do one thing, but I end up doing something else. You know, that kind of statement. What we have is intention and behaviour. Now, think about it. What are the techniques and the approaches that you know that look at intention and behaviour? The Society of NLP bunch will hate this one. How about the 6-step reframe? Yes, I know it's old-fashioned, but it still works. That's the coolest part of it. So we have behaviour and intention. Oh, I just get this... I just can't stop. I get this thought stuck inside my head, and I just can't get it out of my head. Okay, so I've got a thought stuck in my head, can't get it out of my head. I just wish I could think about something else. How about a swish pattern? Or something along those lines. Something that involves changing the pictures around. You get the idea of how this works, right? Oh, I just get, I get this... When I get this overwhelming anxiety, I just feel that it starts here and it just overtakes me. It just comes round and I just get, oh, you know that the Bandler spinning feelings thing? Right? People will describe the structure of their problem even though they don't know they're describing it. Now, if you're able to hear the structure of the problem, you can start to hear the kind of orientation for this kind of technique that you're going to use. So for example, if I do this, my life is an uphill struggle and I don't feel I'm getting very far. That's a metaphor, right? So we can use a metaphorical approach to that. The person may say something like, well, I mean, really, it's just because the thing that happened when I was 6 years old. Okay, so we have a memory-based problem that now has an aftermath effect. So now we go to the memory when they were 6. There's all sorts of memory-based stuff, whether it be timeline therapy, or IEMT type stuff, or trauma resolution work, based around the time-based events. So again, people will tell you explicitly the structure of their problem, if only you can hear it. But if you're doing this, I have a client coming to see me next week with a phobia of wasps or OCD. What technique should I use? That tells me you have no idea about how people structure their problems. And it also tells me that you really shouldn't be working with those people. Because people are going to tell you the structure of it. People on the forums who have never met you, mostly, and probably never will, and probably that's a good thing, trust me, I've met some of these people, and they've never met the client and never will meet the client. They don't even have the client's wording of the problem. They only have your interpretation on the wording of the problem that's posted on the forum. This is not good advice, and it cannot possibly become good advice. So here's what I'm going to urge you to do. Start to think about what are the structures of the techniques that you use. What are the structures of the problems presented? Which are the nearest approximations you can get? This, by the way, is a good start. What I want all practitioners to be able to do is to be moving beyond simple techniques. We applied this technique to this particular problem. Hey, we got a cure. If it was that easy, the world would be a very, very different place. Eventually, with experience, people are going to get much more practiced, and you start to develop your own processes in working with people because you'll be able to hear the structure of the problem. So, to recap, the forums, if you find yourself asking the questions on the forums, and as I'm saying this, I'm dreading the fact I probably have done this in the past, and they're probably all sitting there on the Google archives to haunt me forevermore. I'm over it now. This is a problem, of course, because what goes online stays online, and this is something that's very, very important to consider. Now, I see a lot of people on a lot of forums who are well established offering appalling advice. I have to tell you, I'm just shocked at what I'm reading, and I'm like, ah, it drives me crazy. It's not good advice, and now a lot of us won't necessarily try and engage in endless debate around this is the right technique, this is the wrong technique, you're giving bad advice here, because I've got better things to do. A lot of people haven't. That's again worth bearing in mind. What are they giving away to their public? If you have an archive on the internet of you asking what is essentially dumb questions, and I don't mean that you're being dumb and oh, what an idiot, but if I'm asking a question like a dentist, I've got a guy who needs a molar filled this afternoon, what filling should I use to put in that molar? 10 years from now, that dentist may be well established, well experienced and doing very well. But if that post is sitting online, most people don't look at the date by which that forum was posted. It may be search engine optimized to pick up the search terms for that individual. This can be problematic to you and come back and haunt you. Believe me, I've written enough stuff online I regret, and it's all still sitting there. Have fun looking for it. Anyway, comments below this YouTube video. I would love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to like it. As you probably noticed, on all of my YouTube videos, most of them have that obligatory thumbs down. Yeah, I know who you are. Anyway, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you like, and please do leave comments, and I shall see you in the next video.